Morning, writers. Welcome back. I loved reading all of your quotes from the astronaut and then the facts that you got out of those quotes. Well done for that. One thing that a lot of people did, which was interesting, is they'd say a quote from the astronaut and then they would say the fact, but the fact and the quote were basically the same. So if you are going to quote someone, there's just some general feedback. You might have got this in your feedback already. If you are going to quote someone, try not to exactly restate it just as a fact if you are going to do that. But I thought I'd start today with a little nature documentary clip about polar bears. So have a watch.
It's March, and light returns to the high Arctic, sweeping away 4 months of darkness. A polar bear stirs. She has been in her den the whole winter. Her emergence marks the beginning of spring. After months of confinement underground, she toboggans down the slope, perhaps to clean her fur, perhaps for sheer joy. Her cubs gaze out at their bright new world for the very first time. The female calls them, but this steep slope is not the easiest place to take your first steps. But they are hungry and eager to reach their mother, who's delayed feeding them on this special day. Now she lures them with the promise of milk, the only food the cubs have known since they were born, deaf and blind beneath the snow, some 2 months ago. Their mother has not eaten for 5 months and has lost half her body weight. Now she converts the last of her fat reserves into milk for her cubs. The spring sun brings warmth, but also a problem for the mother. It starts to melt the sea ice. That is where she hunts for the seals she needs to feed her cubs, and she must get there before the ice breaks up. For now, though, it's still minus 30 degrees, and the cubs must have the shelter of the den.
So there you go, year fives. A nice little documentary about polar bears, as my class sometimes calls them. And I showed you that nature documentary because that is a type of informative writing. We can't use dynamic dialogue for polar bears though, because they don't actually say anything. So we are going to be focusing on some humans instead. And the whole point of this is to make your writing more informative by using quotes or statistics. Strategy recap. We remember by saying, who says? Who says that it has to be like that? Use speech marks for the words that they said. And we are going to add something else to that today, which is to make it flow. And I'll show you how to do this. Explain who the person is. Okay, let me jump to today's task. You're going to watch this video and then you're going to start to research some quotes from experts. Experts are the best. Celebrities sometimes not bad, although because they're not experts, they don't always know what they're talking about. And you're going to use it to support your facts in each paragraph. This is a website you can use. I'll show you right now. Brainy Quote. but it works best for topics that aren't animals. So if you're already writing about animals, you probably don't want to use Brainy Quote website. I'll show you what I mean. If I search for monkey, it's going to come up with all these different things where monkey is like a metaphor rather than actually quotes about monkeys. So you probably would be better off Googling expert zoologist monkey, something like that. But if you're going to do something that's not an animal, like a computer, then you will get a quote. Now, the point is not to just throw a quote into your informative writing, because that doesn't actually make it more informative, but you need to use it to support the fact. Okay? That's what the task says here, to support your facts in each paragraph. So let's have a look at an example. This guy, this is a before someone used dynamic dialogue. It's written about this, a newspaper article about this guy. A boy and a sheep have become friends because the boy is in a wheelchair and so is the sheep. Liam Cock has Perth's disease, which means he can't run and jump because his hips are painful. Saturday the sheep has congenital spasticity and can't use her back legs. It means she was born without the ability to control her back legs. Congenital means you were born with it. She lived at an animal sanctuary where they built her a set of wheels so she can zoom around. So that's got a fact and more info, which is a good start to a informative paragraph, just like here, fact and more info. The more info is the most important because it gives your reader lots of details. So they do have that. Oops, sorry. They do have that, but it's lacking dynamic dialogue. It's not as not as informative as it could be. Let's read after someone uses dynamic dialogue. Having new friends is not bad. Hilarious. So here we go. A bond is formed between a sheep and a Riddles Creek boy who both have a different way of getting around. 6-year-old Liam Koch loves AFL and has the same desires as any other boy his age to kick and play and kick the footy with mates, not kick his mates. While Liam does move around just fine, he's not allowed to hop, skip, or even kick a football. Liam has Perth disease, which affects the hip joint and means he's often reliant on a wheelchair. He recently had to spend time in hospital with his legs suspended in the air for 23 hours out of each day. Blah, 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 blah. Now we get to some dynamic dialogue. So Camille is the person... who is Camille? Where did Camille come from? I'm assuming Camille is the mum. Unless you can spot and tell me. And she is a bit of an expert on this because I presume it's her kid who has it, and also she was there. It's been a bit hard at times, but that's why this visit was important to us, to uplift him. Oh, it is Liam's mum, there you go. This quotation from Liam's mum focuses on the emotional aspect of the friendship, which gives the article a more personal tone. So this is almost a little bit like walk a mile in their shoes if you're starting to get people's emotions engaged. That's important too. It was awesome seeing Liam and Saturday together, seeing the smiles. I mean, sheep can smile just like Liam smiled. It was so lovely, said this particular farm director. So there you go. So that's a different point of view. This quotation from the director of the animal sanctuary gives us another point of view on the friendship and makes us feel as if we're there, seeing the smiles on their faces. So your quotes year 5 will either support your fact in each paragraph, sometimes by using walk a mile because they'll make it more engaging for the emotions. So there we go, year 5. Now let me show you how to make it flow. Let's pretend I was writing about this astronaut and I found the interview, which is a great way to get quotes. So maybe my first paragraph would be about the fact that not many people in the 60s became astronauts, especially women. It was not a reliable career choice for most people. It's sounding a little bit too much like the quote, so I'm actually going to just reword it a bit. It was not a, what's the word? Main option. I want a different for a job for most people. Yeah, I can't think of a better word than main at this time, but main, something would be better to swap out. So swap it in there. It was not a main option for a job for most people. Here's the bit that helps you blend it in. As the astronaut, Marsha, it would be better to have a last name, but I can't remember what it is right now. As the astronaut, Marsha says, in the 60s, being an astronaut wasn't really a career choice for anyone. So I've just used a quote from this person. This is the start of my paragraph. From this person to back up my point. So that's how you blend it in using this bit. You could say something like, as the someone says, and the fact that I put astronaut shows that she's an expert, so she actually does know what she's talking about. If you just said, as my friend's neighbor's uncle's dog says, that is not an expert, and it's not going to make your writing informative. So just make sure you say who they are to show that they're an expert, and then you can put the quote. You just have to explain who the person is. Okay, so quick recap year 5. I know that I've told you a lot just there, but you're going to research some quotes, and you're looking for them to support your facts, and sometimes they'll also engage the emotions. You're going to aim for about 1 to 2 quotes in each paragraph. And then you can actually start putting them into your paragraphs, just like I showed you here, where you explain who the person is before you say what they're saying. So there you go, year 5. Hope that makes sense. Looking forward to seeing some interesting quotes from you. Just a reminder, if you want to search for animals, don't use this website, just use Google. If you have another topic though, this one is better for that. Okay, thanks year 5. Let us know if you have any questions. Looking forward to seeing your writing. Bye.